guys, it's Layle with Layle by Mail. I am so excited to share with you my completed December daily album for 2019. So as I get going, I will talk to you about my tips, what helped me to complete it this year. Today is the 27th and I am all done. And then in the description of the video, I will include quite a few links. One being to my blog, where I have documented each day individually and talked a little bit about what I did, show you my foundation page for the day, and then also link to the products I used. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I added, right before I started, I added these two cute little wooden charms, and I found these in the Target One Spot. Guys, the Target One Spot is an amazing place, especially during the holidays, to find lots of great little things for your albums. You guys, it is so chunky. Look at that. I mean, it is so full. Now, I like to use a lot of pop dots and foam adhesive, so that's kind of what makes my book a little bit more full. As we get going, so over here I started with a library pocket card, and I will link to those that I have available on my website in the description of the video. And here I've just done a little bit of journaling about my goals for the month of December. Really kind of things about being present and not getting too stressed and enjoying the process. As we move into the 1st of December, I started out with this really fun acrylic piece on a little transparency, and then a 2x2 pocket page that I cut down. I trimmed down that far right side of pockets. And I love to do that with my pocket pages, to trim them down, especially these little 2x2s. And on the 2x2s, I really like to have them show through things to the next page. So a lot of times you'll see that I leave a lot of white space or clear space on the back side. One of my goals this year with my December daily was to make sure that me was more a part of my album. And I don't, normally I don't do that. And I know a lot of us are like that we don't like to be in front of the camera. We don't like to have our picture taken. But it really was important for me this year as I sat down. This is the 12th year that I've done a December daily project. And as I sat down and looked at my different albums throughout the years, I am not very often seen or included in my albums. So that was one of the goals, and I think I did pretty well with that. All right, as we move on to the second, one of the products that I used in my Document Your December kit that I had available on my website this year was the Advent calendar from My Mind's Eye. And that was a wonderful thing to use in an album like this because it had everything you needed to document. I documented, but the 25 days, kind of the Advent. So there were lots of tags and pockets and things like that. And that is what I've used here in the second. So second was all about, I'll leave that out. The second was all about Pandora. I really like to listen to music, and I far prefer having music on in the background than the television. So that's what I've talked about a little bit here, and that's a screenshot, a photo of Pandora playing through the speakers on our TV. The third, I went with a girlfriend to a local kind of makers market called the Jenny B Market, and did a little bit of journaling about that. This is the postcard from that market that they sent out for this year, and then just a couple photos of some different things that I liked at the market. The fourth is our youngest son's birthday, so I always am documenting that every year in my December daily. So this, I just create a little, these I call French doors, right? So they open in the center. There are French doors, and just a photo of him in front of his birthday door. That's a tradition that I've done with our boys for years. This one I cheated a little bit. He's in college, so he happened to be home for Thanksgiving, and we did his birthday door over Thanksgiving. And then I just used that picture, which is a great tip. You do not have to only include things that actually happened in the month of December. And the other tip is, just because something happened, let's say on the 7th, doesn't mean you have to document it on the 7th. If you wanted to wait and document it on the 14th, then that's okay too. Another kind of holiday market that we went to, a maker's market, this was again at a local place called Salt and Honey. And a couple friends, we went to a workshop where we made our own wreaths out of fresh greenery and things like that. So that was a lot of fun. This little transparency right here, I actually made using a tree stencil from scrapbook.com and using some, I can't remember what the medium is called. It's Vicky Booten, and it's silver, but I don't remember exactly what it's called. Anyhow, if you go to the blog, you will see the 5th, and then I've included what I used there and how I did that. And then this, oh my gosh, this was a wall in that 9th and 9th store. It was so cool. Anyhow, and then this page was all about making the wreaths, and we went for my friend's birthday. The 6th, 7th, and 8th, we were out of town in a place called Deer Valley, not too far from us. So anytime I'm doing something like that where it's over a series of days, in this case the 6th, 7th, and 8th, I am not doing separate pages for each of those days. Basically, it's just kind of that weekend. This little guide, this is one of my favorite apps to use, and it's called WeatherShot. I will also include a link to this in the description of the video. It is a free app that you can add to your iPhone or Android phone, where basically it overlays your location, the temperature, the date and time on top of one of your photos. So then I just printed that out, but that's super fun. And then a pocket here, photos from the weekend. Then we move into the 9th. So this is a 2x2 pocket page, and I was coming home from the gym one day, and it had just snowed, and I saw this beautiful area with all of these trees, kind of the snow-covered trees, and I thought I have to stop and take a picture. So I did, and then I printed that out as a 6x8, and then cut it into individual 2x2s and put it in that pocket page. And that's a really fun way to use the 2x2 pocket pages. One thing I recommend is that you do not cut up pictures of people. It looks very odd once you have those seams in between their faces and their bodies. So something like this scenery or a Christmas tree, Christmas lights, something like that works really well because the continuity of the picture still stays together even with the seams inside. Here I used another library pocket and a 3x4 journaling card to add journaling about that day. Then we get to the 10th. This is one of my favorite spreads I think I did, and this one I called The Perfect Tree. And I talked about all the little handmade ornaments that our boys have made over the years. They are now 19 and 22, so some of these ornaments go way, 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 way back. And I talk about, in the past, we are now empty nesters, my husband and I. This is the first year that we've been empty nesters. And in the past, I really was more concerned about the tree looking perfect and kind of being the decorator tree. I never had a tree like that, but I always wanted that. And this year it really hit me that really this is the perfect tree for me, to have all of their ornaments, their handmade ornaments, just so much meaning there. All right, as we continue. So the 11th, this one, boy, I don't even know what to call this kind of door. The other one was a French door that opened this way. This one is a, I guess, top-down, bottom-up door. Anyhow, for the 11th, I documented between my Layle by Mail business and my online shopping for my business, and then all the orders I receive for my business, and then all of the personal shopping I do. I know you guys, a lot of you are like me. We like to do our shopping online. I have deliveries happening all the time, pretty much every day, 5 or 6 days a week. So this month I had a little basket outside the front door with a little sign just saying thank you for delivering our packages, and some chips and trail mix and cookies and water. And then here inside I kind of explained that a little bit, and then took a picture of a large stack of boxes from Christmas shopping that had all been ordered online. All right, we get to the 12th. The 12th, our youngest son was home from college. He actually had his last final that morning, and so I took a snapshot or a screenshot of our text conversation back and forth from the day, and then just a little bit of journaling in that little tag pocket there. On the 13th, a couple of years ago, I started a tradition as our boys were getting older and had lots of things going on, that my husband and I would try to do at least one good date night during the month of December. And so on the 13th, we went to see Kurt Bester. And he is an amazing musician. If you haven't heard of him, if you go Google him and listen to any of his music, especially his Christmas music, you will recognize it and be like, oh my gosh, that's who that is. Anyhow, this really fun cut file is from Carrie Bradford Studios. I will also link that as well. But that I just attached or adhered to a really thin piece of clear acetate. This was also hers too, the Fa La 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 La. During the month of December every year, Carrie always does a daily freebie. Now, they are no longer free because they are just daily throughout the month of December, but they're very reasonable. I think now maybe $1.99 to download, but that's a good thing to remember during the month of December next year and the year after that and the year after that to make sure you watch out for her wonderful artwork. And here I used one of the Simple Stories photo flips to add an extra photo there. And these are awesome little things. I'll also link in the description of the video, but it's great because they let you add additional photos or cards or journaling or whatever to your pocket pages. I also did the same thing on the 14th. The 14th, this is another thing that I had kind of made a goal to do, is that my husband and I, once a week-ish, maybe once every other week, that we would plan to cook together dinner and make a really nice dinner. And so the first time that we had done this was on the 14th. So just took a photo of some of the ingredients and then the page from the cookbook that we were cooking from. So that was really fun. This little guy is a tree that I made using the product strips or the barcode strips from the papers. So that's always a fun thing to do. As we move into the 15th ended up being really ironic. Let me back up for a second. So before the month of December starts, I have all of my foundation pages done. So basically the bones are created, the foundation pages are done. So ideally when it would come to the 15th, I would sit down and just need to add photos and tell the story. Now some cases that works and some it doesn't, depending on the day and what you had going on. But I've learned over the years that that is a very easy way to make sure that you will be successful in making progress. I won't say finishing, I will say making progress on your December daily album. So no pressure, but if you don't feel like you have to start from scratch and be completely creative from scratch every day, I think it's a little bit less daunting. Anyhow, for the 15th, it worked out so well, and it was so ironic. The 15th, my husband and our youngest son that was home from college went skiing. And it was almost a year to the day that they were skiing together last year in Canada for our son's senior trip. So I told the story about kind of that trip and how this year, kind of what a difference a year makes. So these are photos from this year. And as we open up, these are photos of them together last year. And then my husband on the couch with a giant ice machine, because on that trip last year he had torn his ACL. So just kind of a really fun this year to last year comparison. Don't mind my little boo-boos here if you can see those, a little bit of the paper ripped, but that's okay. Okay, so that is the 15th, and that was my foundation page. Literally, I just went and added some photos inside, journaling, and then a title. So that was super easy. Love it when that happens. All right, the 16th. If you do this project, a lot of us, this is what things end up looking like. That was my craft room on the 16th. Now, I had a couple of different things going on. I was working on some videos and doing some other things, but that I think it's always fun to capture that because that's kind of a crazy mess. The 17th, another clear transparency where I added chipboard numbers and a little fa la la there. This is our Christmas card for the year. This one kind of has a funny story. Our older son, not able to make it home for Christmas, also wasn't able to make it home for Thanksgiving. He is a chef. He's going to culinary school and he works at a fine dining restaurant. So this time of year is very difficult for him to get off. So I wanted to do our family Christmas photo, but we didn't have, I didn't have a picture of him or the four of us together. So I printed out his face, put it on a yardstick, and we took what we call Jack on a Stick with us and took some photos. So that was kind of fun. And then a little bit about our year on the back of this Christmas card. for the 18th and 19th. So the 18th and 19th, this is another example like the 6th, 7th, and 8th, where I was out of town. So the 18th and 19th, I traveled to Arizona to do some filming for scrapbook.com. And what was kind of fun, I completely scrapped, I shouldn't say scrapped because that has a different meaning. I completely put aside my foundation pages for the 18th and 19th, and I used this page, and this is another thing I did with stencil and an opaque gel, an opaque, oh my gosh, an opaque medium. I'll link that as well in the in the video because, or in the description, because I can't remember offhand what it's called. Anyhow, this was a sample that I did for one of the videos I was filming. So I thought it would be fun if I included this, kind of the snowflakes with the medium. Anyhow, that's what I did there. A little bit of journaling and then photos that were taken there while I was doing the filming. All right, and then these little 2x2s, again, I talked about liking that, you know, them to kind of be open. On the 20th, so not every day needs to have a photo. And that was my example, or what I did on the 20th. I was with neighbors in the morning, I was with different neighbors in the evening for dinner, and then different neighbors again for drinks after dinner. And so I just used this little setup here to do a little bit of journaling about how much we love our neighbors and what took place that day. And that just tucks right in that little pocket right there. The 21st. 21st is all about Christmas lists. And I tell a little story about how the Christmas lists have changed over the years. Gone are the days where the boys I would sit them down and have them write their Christmas list to Santa. And it was really hard to read their writing and things. Now they text me, which I love. I think that's fun. It actually gets a lot easier because now they can text me links and then I can just click and order. So I took screenshots of those text conversations from my phone, printed those out, and in the pocket they go. The 22nd. So this one I call a doggy door. We did the French door. This one is a doggy door, so basically opens from the top. You guys, I decorated my Christmas tree this year on the 22nd. Now, the Christmas tree was up Thanksgiving. It was lit on Thanksgiving. The only reason it had the lights on was because it was a pre-lit tree. But it took me all the way until the 22nd. And honestly, I almost didn't decorate our tree just because I thought, what's the point? I'm going to take it down right after Christmas. But then the holiday spirit got the best of me and we decorated it. So here I've just tucked a bunch of pictures of some of our favorite ornaments in that little pocket right there. On the 23rd, second date night, my husband and I went with some friends to a local production of Seussical, and that was really fun. But this was my foundation page, you guys. All I did was adhere this little pocket that the tickets came in. I thought that would be a really fun thing to adhere or add to my December daily, and then just a couple photos. So love it when the foundation pages kind of just end up with not many changes at all, because that makes it easy. The 24th. So we're getting close. Christmas Eve. On the 24th, my mom came over. We had crab legs for dinner, and then our son Sam, our youngest son, and my mom made a gingerbread eggnog trifle. That when my sister is in town, that's always what she does. It's her recipe, and she always makes that, but she wasn't in town this year. So my mom and Sam made that. Now, it was going so well, and they were having fun, and when they were done, there was a little bit of homemade whipped cream left over. And my son Sam said, "Hey, Mom, do you want to taste?" And he handed the spoon over. Well, he didn't hand it over. He got in, and then, if you can see that, he got me. My top of my forehead all the way down to my mouth with the whipped cream, and it was hilarious. Now, my mom had a feeling he was going to do something like that, so she was there standing by and took a picture, which I'm so glad to have that. That was so fun. That's a really fun example of making sure that you're in your albums and your projects. I don't think I had showered that day. We were getting ready for a big party at our house the next day. My hair was up in a bun. Anyhow, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to be in my album. That was super fun. So then a photo that I got of them, back and forth now trying to get each other with whipped cream, and there they both have it on their nose. All right, the 25th. So the 25th is like a fold and a fold and a fold and all these little things. So here's the front, the 25th. We open that up. This little guy folds over here, and this little guy folds over here. So I took some photos, or actually didn't take some photos. There's a photo of my husband and son on the ski lift that they took and sent to me while they were skiing. And I just added little titles to all of these photos. Over here is my husband that night, wrapping up the cooking for a big Christmas dinner. Our older son, I mentioned, could not come home for Christmas. So my sister, the next day, he happened to be with my sister. The next day, she sent me this photo. And here he is cooking. So it was so perfect that she sent that. So I kind of did a little bit of journaling here about missing him for Christmas, but being glad he was still able to spend it with family. And here the journaling, a little bit of a recap of our Christmas morning, afternoon, and evening. Then this was part of my foundation page, just a cute little pocket and tag, the back side. And then here I had added, this was one of my foundation pages, a little pocket here. And the pocket was great for adding photos or memories or what have you. So I've tucked a few photos from Christmas night into that pocket. And there we have it. So you guys, I did not finish my 2018 album until a few days before December this year. And I think it's really important that we talk about that. Last year, I had a really hard December. And about halfway through, I just said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm not in the Christmas spirit. And I'm not feeling doing this. So I set it aside, and I gave myself permission to set it aside. You guys, I set it aside for almost a year. But you know what was amazing is this November, when I sat down to finish 2018, I just had such a renewed sense of excitement, and I was able to look back on 2018 with a completely different perspective. So that's a really important message I want to share about this project. It is an amazing project. It is wonderful. It is so wonderful when you're done to have these super detailed memories of a really neat time of year. But you have to give yourself permission to rest, give yourself permission to finish it later in December, to finish it in January, to finish it in November. And you know what? If you never finish it, that's okay too, because regardless of how far you made it through, you actually were documenting something that was important to you. So I encourage you to consider a project like this again, December in 2020. And it's just such a special project to me. So I really, really encourage you to consider doing something like this. Thank you for letting me share with you my December daily for 2019. Take care. Bye-bye.